These are the demos that made Fable 5 look untouchable, so I rebuilt them with OpenAI's entire 5.6 lineup. And somehow, one of the cheap models was frighteningly close to Sol, while another result was basically unusable. And I might have taken this test a bit too far. I built 10 complete projects with Sol, repeated the strongest tests with Terra and Luna, presented the charts, tracked the cost, and built an entire observatory so that you can inspect the results yourself. Because the biggest model wasn't always the best decision, and in one test, Sol cost almost 4 times more. So let's find out where Sol is worth it, where Terra is the smarter choice, and what on earth is wrong with Luna. OpenAI's GPT-5.6 lineup is pretty simple on paper. Sol is the flagship, Terra is meant to be the balance between capability and cost, and Luna is meant to be the fast and affordable model. But model pages always make these choices look clean. Real projects are not clean. A cheaper model might save you money, or burn the difference while you spend 20 minutes trying to fix something that looked like it was working. So I took 10 of the creative challenges that made Fable blow up: games, websites, motion graphics, interactive experiences, and rebuilt the briefs with Sol on high reasoning. Then I repeated the strongest comparison with Terra and Luna wherever I had a matching result. These 10 Sol project sessions recorded $17.64 in model costs. The observatory was a completely separate build because apparently I didn't know where to stop. The website cost more than the demos. We'll discuss my decision making another day. Quick honesty check. These were reconstructed challenge briefs, not confirmed copies of the original prompt. The Fable demos were also run at different settings. Some were run on max reasoning, and one apparently cost about $30 by itself. So this is not a laboratory benchmark, it's a creator test. What did each model give me? How much correction did I have to make? And will I ship the final results? I scored visual quality, functionality, autonomy, how close it was to something I could actually ship, and efficiency. Visuals and functionality matter most, because if it looks finished but the main interaction fails, I can't ship it. Which brings us to the easiest test in the entire video. Does the car actually move? Fable's reference looked like a proper arcade game. Lighting, motion, atmosphere, the kind of thing that makes you forget you're looking at a browser demo. Sol got surprisingly close to the core experience. The graphics were solid, the Nitro trails worked, the wheels turned, and then the car refused to move properly. I told it exactly what was wrong. One correction later, the car moved, I could boost, hit the ball, and actually play the game. Terra also looked plausible. It originally started black, which it fixed after one prompt, but the bigger problem remained the actual game did not properly play. At this point, I could probably have kept prompting until it worked, but that's part of the test. If one result is playable after repair and the other one still needs me to rescue the game loop, then they are not equal by any means. Sol wins the first round, not because it dramatically looked better, but because functionality is a feature. But functionality is one thing. The next challenge is where Fable's visual advantage becomes something much harder to ignore, and where Luna completely falls apart. The Fable results were run at max reasoning, reportedly costing about $30, and honestly, it shows. The world is larger, dense, detailed, and all the different systems appear to work. In my opinion, Sol took a safer route. Its world was much smaller, less ambitious, but the core experience was comparable. Movement, blocks, hotbar, interaction. It had one glitch at the beginning, I described it, and Sol fixed it immediately. Terra was more adventurous visually. It added a custom interface and shaders, and the world was reasonably larger. But it was also the most annoying Terra session. WASD failed and other functionalities failed. It took roughly about 3 prompts to finally get everything working. And also one thing I also noticed was I did this one in the Codex app. I'm not saying Codex app is the issue, but every other test I did it in my Takomi custom harness and everything worked reasonably well compared to that one time. So if we look at Terra's take here, if you look at this, you look at Terra, it's a no session because it was done in Codex. So let's look at this. Let's just open it in a new tab and visualize it entirely. So, okay. As you can see, everything looks good. Everything works as it should, to be honest. Although, like, I would say its choice of shaders was rather interesting. It took a much more custom route. TNT, nothing too crazy. I like the way it does when it kills stuff. Let's see, can we go down here? Yep. Let's put 6. Okay. Let's just try and get out of here. Yep. Fun fact, I've never played Minecraft in my life. But this works, doesn't it? Woo! Spawn me back to the top, boy. Luna was basically unusable. I didn't finish rescuing it. It's already seen enough. My scores were 8 for Sol, 7.7 for Terra, and 2.0 for Luna. But the most important conclusion is this. Out of the GPT models, Sol was the most reliable result. Terra built a good world through a rough process. Luna failed, and Fable still had the highest world building ceiling by a clear margin. So Luna looks finished, right? Not quite, because the model that failed the hardest here nearly won the next category. This test was less about game logic and more about taste, typography, motion, image choice, copywriting, and whether the whole thing had an actual point of view. Sol produced the most expressive overall experience. It used more color, more imagery, and the easing and transition felt polished. It also had the strongest balance of design and copy in my final ranking. Terra was still tasteful but much safer, more monochrome, less expressive, decent image, and for me the weakest writing out of the 3. Then Luna opened with, "Before a storm arrives, the world rehearses." This is annoyingly good. It used fewer images but framed them well, had stronger contrast, and suddenly the cheapest tier looked like it had the cleanest literary voice. I even asked other models to judge the copy. GPT picked Luna, and for some reason, Claude doubled down on Sol. As you can see here, I basically copied all the copies, and it said Sol won, and for some reason it says Model 2, which is Terra. Terra had the worst, and Luna was a close second. I asked GPT the exact same question. GPT, without any doubt, was like, yo, Luna, Sol, then Terra. So it's very obvious that Terra is the loser. So I copied this verdict and I took it back to Claude. I'm like, yo, Claude, this is what GPT said. And then Claude is like, that's a genuinely 2-to-1 split. I asked Gemini the same question, yeah? And Gemini went with Luna. So I think we should all pick Luna. It's that simple. All the AI say Luna, apart from Claude for some reason. Claude be really angry with small models. I don't know why. So my final choice is Sol overall. Not just the copy, like the entire thing. Luna, a close second, and Terra in third place. The difference between Sol and Luna was 0.08 of a point. So Luna is not simply a worse Sol. It's a model that can completely fail on one challenge and produce some of the most remarkable work in the next. A beautiful website is still showcase. I wanted to know whether this lineup could build something close to my real work. There is no direct Fable comparison for this test, so I'm not going to force it. This is a filmmaker test. Can these models build a usable motion graphics timeline? Sol gave me the best complete project on the first pass. The JSON worked, the timeline worked, the animations were fluid, and the layout made sense immediately. Terra made alignment and arrangement mistakes. None of them were impossible to fix, but I had to explain the corrections, and this surprisingly cheap model produced the most expressive workflow of the 3 in this test. Luna spaced things out so much that I had to scroll to reach the timeline, but the design was decent, the motion worked, and unlike Terra, it needed far less babysitting. Sol wins the product, Luna wins the value surprise, and Terra proves that a cheaper token price doesn't automatically mean a cheaper finished product. But the largest price gap in my experience was still ahead, and this time Terra didn't even come close. The reason I score Ship-Readiness heavily is because I build software people rely on daily. Melo is a school management platform I built for schools. A teacher can enter a whole class score from one sheet, and Melo handles scores, grades, and report cards using the school's rules. So if your school is still processing results with files named final.final.xlss, use the demo or contact linked in the description, or send it to the person in your school who needs it. Alright, so back to the models, because the next price difference is ridiculous. This is another test without a matched Fable reference. So the question here is simple. Is Sol's premium worth paying for when Terra attacks the same product experience? Sol's Atelier Asylum is genuinely premium. It actually built a full application, not just HTML, like a full React application. The record interaction is satisfying, the player works, the responsive experience holds together, and visually, it's some of the strongest taste in the entire collection. Then, Terra built Needle and Groove. Different visual direction, same premium editorial feeling, strong imagery, working interactions, and in my judgment, it was every bit as shippable for this challenge, even though it was just HTML. 43 cents versus $6. 25 tool calls versus 112. 10 minutes of estimated active work versus almost 50. Sol clearly made an excellent experience, but Terra made the better decision. That closes the cheap model loop. Terra produced the best value within the entire experiment, but one project can be locked. So here are 5 other Sol builds and what they change about the verdict. The Pokemon reference was not perfectly matched. Fable's demo was kind of like the classic. Sol's version was cute and complete and held together without any repair pass. Terra took a safer, simpler route and remained very playable. On the panel visualizer, Sol clearly won in visuals, although the browser lagged slightly. Terra's design was cleaner, but the music was the one I would actually keep playing. In my opinion, Fable's music taste was kind of mid. It wasn't bad, but it was mid. You know what? Give it a listen and tell me what you think in the comments. The FPS results exposed a strange GPT behavior. Everything always wanted to be black. I don't know if it was messed up in some training data or it just never used lighting, or I don't know. To be honest, I just feel like maybe because I didn't let it do any review pass to check its work. So maybe if you looked at it, it would have known. But everything was dark. Sol became the strongest full game after one brightness request. Terra was a capable dark one pass build. I didn't end up adjusting the brightness. Luna also worked but needed 2 brightness prompts and built a smaller feeling map. Kistra was less useful as a controlled comparison, but it proved Sol could build a coherent atmospheric walkthrough quickly. Fable built a dense atmospheric forest. Sol built whatever this is. This is why the launch benchmarks matter, but only as context. On Deep SWE's version 1.1's best effort table, with the scores and data on screen, Sol is listed at 73% plus or minus 3 at an average of $8.39 per task. Fable is listed at 70% plus or minus 4 at $21.63. Terra is 70% plus or minus 3 at $4.95. And Luna is 67% plus or minus 4 at 303. That suggests an interesting price performance story for software engineering tasks. But it cannot tell you whether a car moves, whether a website has taste, or whether a cheap model sends you into 3 rounds of repair. Note, my projects do not replace the benchmarks, but they show you what the benchmarks cannot. Workflow. Sol is the reliable winner. It gave the best complete results more often than the others, usually with little corrections. If failure is expensive, if I need the thing to work and look good without gambling my afternoon, Sol is the safer choice. As a matter of fact, I've been testing it on Medium for other projects and it has been great as an orchestrator. Terra is a dangerous value model. When it behaves, they can embarrass Sol. The 43-cent value experience is the cleanest example, but it also gave me an attractive game that did not properly play, and the most annoying Voxel session. Luna is chaos. The sample is smaller, so I'm not taking this as a universal verdict. But within these tests, it produced the worst results and two of the biggest surprises. I would use it when cheap iteration matters and failure is recoverable, not when I need a dependable first pass quality. And Fable still owns the world building ceiling. Sol did not simply replace it. In the richest worlds, Fable's reference showed details and ambitions my reconstructed GPT briefs could not. Once again, I strongly believe if I put a better prompt at Sol, it will give me a comparable result. But from these testings, Fable is more likely to go the extra mile. And mind you, I ran Fable on max, I run Sol on high, so do with that what you wish. So, did GPT-5.6 recreate the demos that made Fable go viral? Yes, sometimes surprisingly well. Did Sol replace Fable? No. Sol won reliability. Terra won value when it behaved, and Luna won surprise. And Fable still had one thing my GPT recreations couldn't fake: richer worlds. But after testing all this, I think there's another variable hiding inside all the results. Most of these models checked whether the code ran. They did not repeatedly open the browser, take screenshots, look at their own designs, and keep refining until visual results were actually good. If they did that, it will have probably been more expensive and taking way longer time. In my opinion, this is a good test to see what they can do right out the bat, even in a simple setup. So, maybe the next fair test is not just Sol, Terra, or Luna. It should be, can each of these models go and review the work that they've done before finally submitting? That's the next experiment. I'm taking my real abandoned blog project, the one I made but never actually shipped, and asking a harder question. Can AI turn this into a production-grade website that somebody would value at $10,000? Not from scratch, not a fake demo, and not a guaranteed valuation. The episode is whether it can pass the build, deployment, publishing workflow, and build validation checks. The observatory has the projects, the charts, and the numbers. Go judge them yourselves and tell me the ones you'd actually ship.